Hello and welcome to Nerdist Book Club. We are live on Nerdist YouTube and Geek and Sundry's Twitch channels. I am Rachel Heine, and yes, I cut my hair too short. And joining me, as always, are Hector Navarro and Maude Garrett. I just needed to get it out of the way.
Get it out. Say it. Cleanse the palate.
So that I'm aware of it. I'm sure there will be people in the YouTube comments like, your hair looks terrible.
I'm about to eat a burrito, so...
And I, as always, am perfect.
It's true. It's true, Hector. Eat a burrito. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I can't believe this is our last live episode of the year. It's been, all in all, a terrible year overall. But the good thing is we came back for Nerdist Book Club. That's like one of the only good things.
Yes, the family's back.
Yeah, fam is back. If you are joining us for the first time, this is pretty indicative of what an intro to the show looks like. And Nerdist Book Club is our online book club, hence the name, where we break down different books in different genres, some that we've read, some that we haven't, some that some of us have, some that some of us haven't. And preferably with a beverage. I made like a dessert cocktail because it's been that kind of week.
Do tell. What we got in that glass? What is your throwing of glass happening? You queen?
I think that's in the title of the one I'm reading right now. I'm trying to remember. Yep. It's like it's kind of like making your own Baileys, but like I made it with like a lot less cream and
a lot more kick
like that, and a lot more whiskey.
That sounds good.
I have a rosé this evening.
You know what I haven't had in forever is like a Kahlua.
Alive. Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you say a life?
Yeah, it's 2020.
That is true. That is also true. Yes, yes.
You know what I haven't had for a while?
A life of any kind. Yeah.
Time out anywhere.
Yeah.
A dog with a full set of teeth.
Oh my
What
God,
happened?
I saw that. I know.
Wait, what happened with Zelda?
She cracked her back molar and it exposed nerve ending and pulp. So obviously I went in to get the tooth either, filling or removed. And they're like, it's a cosmetic thing to get it filled. We'll remove it. We'll do an x-ray. And then they x-rayed and they're like, yeah, look, it's super, super common for small dogs to have dental disease. So we're just going to also, while she's under, we'll remove all the row of bottom teeth between the canines. And I was like, guys, I cried so hard that the person who worked at the vet had to be like, you're not a bad mom. I was just like, my dog's got like, all the teeth are gone.
How's she doing? What's the update?
She's staring at me because she wants my burrito. And I'm like, baby, you got no teeth to eat it.
She's got some teeth to eat it.
She's got some teeth to eat it.
Oh, wow.
None of those.
Well, that's 2020. That's what do it. That's what'll happen if you're existing in 2020. But like Rachel was saying earlier, at least this show came back. And you know what else is exciting? For the first time ever, we're bringing back old episodes.
Segues. Oh, sorry.
Solid segue.
Which is
but while we're on break, classic episodes of our old show, the previous iteration of this show, Alpha Book Club, are going to be airing on YouTube so that YouTube people can see that show for the first time. We're covering the first Harry Potter book. We're covering Princess Bride, and then potentially more, like the rest of the. And if anybody's watching right now doesn't remember, I was the person who was reading the Harry Potter books for the first time, and these two lovelies were guiding me through it. And the other cool thing is, what's that?
It's like Rachel and I. It was like sixth time. What was?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I think this is also really cool. In the descriptions for the Harry Potter episodes, there's going to be links to help trans charities, which I think is fantastic and a great way to be like, hey, Harry Potter's awesome. But you know what else is awesome? The trans community.
Respecting people.
Respecting humans beings.
Transphobic, rich.
Goddamn Levy. No.
Who will not stop doing it. Like just tripling, quadrupling down. So yeah, that was super important to us because we had such a great time reading those books, and we've, you out there have
childhood
that we bring those old episodes back, but we also wanted to acknowledge And I'm pretty sure we do at least a few times over the course of the show, but we did that in what, 2017?
Yeah.
2017 through to 2018. Yeah. Because we did
And-
our 7 books every other month. So it was
Yep.
14 months of Harry Potter. in this.
Yeah. And it's so nice. People in the chat are saying that book club has been a bright spot of 2020. And Miss Necromancer, very good point. New people will get to eventually see the backstory of She Gone, Girl. Gone Girl. Yeah, there's a lot of inside jokes that might click for you where you're like, wow, that's dumb, but at least it makes more sense.
There you go. We're
reading
honestly.
We're reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Are you liking it?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I said last week it was really hard for me not to just finish the book in our second week. So as soon as we ended the after show, I finished the book. And then I listened to the second book. And then I listened to the third book.
Holy shit, seriously?
And now I'm on the fourth book.
She's in. She's gone, girl.
She gone, girl. She gone.
And what's interesting is having now listened to 2 more. It does get for the folks who are reading the first book, because it didn't bother me because I'm like, okay, YA makes sense. I do think it gets a lot more mature and complex and action driven.
Velvet wrapped steel.
Oh, a sex scene finally? Hello.
She calls it a velvet wrapped steel.
I was texting Maude and also
that's the perfect
Ratcliffe.
Description for a penis, if I've ever heard one. That is an absolutely
It's
perfect description for a penis. That's what mine reminds me of. It's velvet wrapping steel. Duh. So good job, Sarah J. Maas.
I was trying to enjoy a burrito, and now I don't think that's possible.
It honestly, I was texting Maude and Amy, who's also a big fan of Sarah J. Maas.
I spoke to Amy about it when I was doing Mandalorian last week.
Yeah, and sort of live texting them my wishes for some of the characters, and not 5 minutes after I was doing that, did I get my wish, and it was entertaining. And also it's perfect. Yeah, the series is really good, but we're here to talk about the first book. I'm not going to spoil you on the rest, but if you want to talk about it, we can do that. Only up
before that happens, I'm so sorry. Before we move on, this is really important.
You can interrupt with when you have an empty mouth, Maude. You can also do that if you wanted to.
If you put a burrito in a sandwich press and then put a little bit more cheese on it, thank me later.
Okay.
Yes, but just a reminder.
That's what you interrupt.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
I was just reiterating, especially just off the back of how much Rachel loves these books. This was my selection for the month, but we actually have next month's selection as well. And I just want to touch base about that one before we get into the crux of the end of Throne of Glass, because this is a book that Hector recommended to me.
Boom.
And it is Star Wars. It is very much like a different sort of pace, but we still get great character and character development. And I'm rewatching the Clone Wars, so I'm super excited about this. If you guys don't already have it, there it is, Star Wars Dark Disciple by Christy Golden. Get your ears or your mitts around that, because we will be tackling it in January. Rachel, as you were.
Thank you. And also I will be watching. I am determined during my solo Christmas to, I'll have the cats, to watch Clone Wars and Rebels.
Cool.
And I can do it because I will definitely be done with these books by then. Because all I do is either binge TV, which is great, but even better for someone like myself with ADHD who likes to be doing multiple things at one time, audiobook, Switch.
Perfect. I'm
It's
gonna be doing that for the first time next month because first time I read Dark Disciple, I read it physically. I'm actually gonna do an audiobook for the first time. I'm gonna dive in, so I'm really excited.
Oh my God, he's
You might also turn into a convert.
Maybe we'll
one
see.
down, one to go, as far as I'm saying. Okay, so I also want to just really quickly share my ultimate setup at the moment. It doesn't involve books, but it is multi-classing. I am playing Heroes of Might and Magic on my PC, well, on my one monitor, while my second
what's it about? What's it?
Heroes of Might and Magic, it used to be from 3DO, but then I believe Ubisoft brought it. It came out in about 1999 or so. Such a good game. It's a turn-based strategy. It's fantasy. It's so good. I'm playing Heroes of Might and Magic while watching Battlestar Galactica. I'm
very nice.
I'm in heaven. It's so good.
Cool.
That's amazing. And apparently Lee is also doing that.
You're rewatching Battlestar Galactica?
Yeah,
Last rewatch was
he hasn't watched it he has seen the final season when it was on, and he had seen the first few episodes.
Lee, that's crazy.
I don't want to even.
I've never seen Lost.
I'm just happy that he's starting from the beginning. I'm trying not to, shame him, even though it is upsetting. It's upsetting. But he's on season 2 now. Highly recommend everyone. I'm still trying to persuade my boyfriend to watch all of that, which he will.
So good, and it's so bingeable. It's such good storytelling. Antonio Vargas has said, "Oh my gosh, wow! Star Wars audiobooks have sound effects." Yeah, they flipping do, and it's so good. It's so
and the scores, and I'm excited to read that. I'm excited. I like Ventress as a character. I've always been intrigued by these Dathomir witches, especially after I think Solo. I was like, tell me more about this. So I'm excited to read that. But over the break, you can catch up or rewatch previous episodes of our show when it was under a paywall with Harry Potter and Princess Bride, which also features Carrie Elwes on the final episode, the whole episode, and all three of us, but especially Maude, she's got a very expressive face, but all three of us just like
enamored,
losing our goddamn minds.
So nice.
It was great. Yeah, he's just delightful. But let's get into it. Let's talk about Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
So let's see what's happening here. Oh, I just want to say that there are subheadings in our notes, and some of them are songs. I don't know if anyone will know this one.
The prince is giving a ball.
It's from the Cinderella musical by Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Okay. Don't know it, but okay. Is that the one that? Is that the one that was the version with Brandy? Nice.
Brandy and Victor Garber.
Wow.
And Whitney Houston, but also Miss Scarlet from Clue.
Oh, cool.
And Cinderella from that musical in the 60s.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact. Fun Broadway fact. Anyway, Maude.
Yeah, I will take it away just after Miss Necromancer reminded us about Chow Owl. Alrighty, when we last left Selena, our assassin with a mysterious past, she was preparing to sneak into the Yulmus Ball to protect Prince Dorian and Captain Kaol, Chow Owl, from potential danger. She hates herself for it, but she suspects that her friend, Princess Nehemia of Ilway, might be planning some sort of attack against the kingdom of Arderlan. Otterland. Revenge for the king's brutal execution of her people. Moment. That felt very sort of Star Wars and Rebels and not fun. Selena's handservant, Philippa, dresses her up for the ball. And with a nod to the loose inspiration behind the book, remarks that she feels like a fairy queen. Almost like, she stops herself before she says magic. We have a fairy godmother, y'all. Yeah, Rach got that. I never really did. Maybe I did, but I glossed over it and I was like,
That's funny.
Yeah, like that's so fun. This is because like the ball obviously is very Cinderella. I do like that it's not it doesn't feel like just a slightly different circumstance with
not a cookie cutter thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of it's just sort of the like seed of an idea that kind of goes from there, because she like tests her little dainty shoes to make sure she can, run and fight in them, which is like a glass slipper thing. But I'm glad it's, we've seen a lot of reimaginings of the Cinderella tale, and many of them are super good, but I like that this just takes like some elements of that.
Many of them are good. Some of them have Hilary Duff. We've got a fairy.
I mean, it's not good, but it is classic.
Michael Murray. We've got a fairy godmother, y'all, who also helps conceal her weapons. Get you a godmother who can do both. I love the sass in the script, Rage. As Selena enters the ball, all eyes are on her. Dorian swoons, and goes to greet her, but Chaos steps in first to scold his champion. He begrudgingly allows her to stay, but rejects her invitation to dance. Oh, meanwhile, Dorian tries to play it cool by ignoring Selena, but not cool, dude. She starts to realize that she might have feelings for Chaos when Dorian sweeps in and asks her to dance. The drama, the love triangle, they dance the night away, and when Dorian follows Selena to her room, they finally smooch.
Let them smooch, and maybe other things in later books. So
I love that in the smooch, he was kind of like apprehensive or gentle and cut it off, and she was like, no, I want it. Relatable.
Yeah.
That's all. Hector?
What is your favorite?
I have a question before.
Go.
Sorry, Hector.
Go.
What is your favorite, like, in outside of this, obviously, and like, what's your favorite version of Cinderella? And chat as well too, because maybe there's one I haven't seen, but either a straight adaptation or a play on it. I'm gonna go first because I have an answer already, and it's Ever After.
Oh, with
Drew Barrymore.
Thank you, I did it. Yeah,
Angelica Houston and Melanie Linsky. And
Currently
she's like,
streaming on Disney Plus. It's on Disney Plus, so you can watch
really?
it there.
Ooh,
yeah.
I gotta watch that.
There
And
you
it's
go.
like they've got Da Vinci's in there a little bit, and almost Wolverine actor Dougray Scott, who's also in Mission Impossible 2, plays the prince. It's all very good.
He was almost Wolverine, really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he turned that down for Mission Impossible 2.
Well, yeah, that's funny. That's really funny.
It's sad.
It is. That was back when nobody thought a comic book movie was a good thing for your career. And now it's
one of the big
how things have changed. Mine's probably, I'm just going to go with the classic Disney adaptation. I didn't like it as a kid, but then I revisited it as an adult and I was like, this is actually really beautiful and really lovely and really sweet. And Cinderella herself, she's a really nice character. And then the direct-to-video sequel, Cinderella 2, is bad, but Cinderella 3 is actually really good. So check out Cinderella and Cinderella 3.
Also has Gus Gus, so.
The best. Happy birthday! No, Gus, no. That's not why we made a dress. It's so funny.
Jimmy Springfield says, I like the Once Upon a Time Cinderella. John Adams says Into the Woods. Max Barr says Cinder as a character in RWBY, Ruby. Ruby. I actually really like Kate Blanchett as the Wicked Stepmother. And that was in like the adaptation. Richard Madden, I'm a big fan of. And I think that was Lily. What was her name?
Lily James.
Yeah.
This was the one directed by Kenneth Branagh, right? I heard it was really good.
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet.
I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was good.
I liked it too. I love Kate Blanchett and anything, and the costumes are really gorgeous. Kate Blanchett wears like a really dope, like emerald green gown at some point.
And it plumes out.
Yes.
Very nice.
Also, Into the Woods, the show, I will watch the movie because I'm Broadway musical trash. But the actual musical is so funny, and Disney should not have adapted it because it's basically skewering Disney.
Weird, right?
Fairy tales. It's so weird that they made that.
Yeah. I mean, it's because,
sweet.
After the success of Shrek, I think Disney realized if we don't get out in front of this ourselves and do it ourselves, we will become so obsolete.
Not Farquaad.
Yeah. So
Shrek 2 and Shrek 3.
Yeah.
They were trying to stop that, and you can't stop it.
You can't stop Shrek?
No. Hey now.
You can't stop the music either.
Can't stop the beat.
Is that a Shrek reference? I don't know if that's a
No,
song
that's
in
a
one of the.
nursery reference. I'm going
Okay,
with
there we
the
go.
Broadway.
Oh,
There we go. Broadway.
The
Broadway.
I
Broadway
was doing
references that
Trolls.
neither one of you is getting.
Shrek the
I
musical.
know it. I no, I was doing Trolls.
Gotcha. Yeah. Justin Timberlake.
Oh,
Yep.
Got it. Cool.
okay.
The next section of the book is called Magic, Murder, and Monsters. Oh my.
I think
That's
Hector's going to read for a bit, so we should look at him.
a Wizard of Oz reference. That's a Wizard of Oz. And I think that
I'm just throwing themes out there. So.
we should absolutely solo on Maude as she scarfs down this burrito. But I'll keep talking. Anyway, the burrito is delicious. And here's my yeah, I'm doing the sound effects for Maude. All right, here's what happens. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention this. I should have checked in the back. I'm a real dummy because, of course, there's a how to pronounce.
Is there a map? Oh,
how
no!
to pronounce the words in the back of the book. Come on, look at this.
Say map, but wow.
Selena.
Wow.
Selena.
Wow.
Selena Sardothian. So I'm going to be referencing.
At the beginning.
Yeah, I'm going to be referencing this as I'm reading this. Here we go. Lady Caltaine is still having those awful headaches and smoking opium for some relief when Duke Parrington finally tells her who Lady Lillian really is. They conspire to sabotage Selena in the final duel to kill her, but avoid suspicion. Meanwhile, Selena researches the word marks she found around the bodies of the dead champions and discovers that they are used to open a portal and summon the, okay, it's not here, the Ritterak, a creature from another world. The victims were a sacrifice to the Ritterak, who would give their strength to whoever summoned it. Selena realizes there's only one place that someone could perform this sort of ritual and conceal the Ritterak, the secret passageway. When she goes to investigate the Ritterak, she discovers Cain, is the culprit. He locks her in the chambers with the Ritterak, but Selena remembers King Gavin's sword of Damaris in Elena's tomb. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Here it is. In Elena's tomb. Although she eventually kills the monster, the Ritterak bites her first, a poisonous bite, which causes her to faint. She wakes to find Nehemia watching over her. After using word marks to heal her, Selena finally decides to trust her friend and tells her who she really is and why she's in the castle. Nehemia gives her a name. Alentia, a name to use with honor, to use when other names grow too heavy. Alentia, spirit who cannot be broken. So now she's got 3 names. Now there's a third identity. It's like a Superman, Clark Kent, Kal-El type of a thing. There's like a whole nother. Okay, cool. Okay.
You're gonna need that whole hand, Hector. You're gonna need that whole hand.
Oh, because she takes on more identities because she's the king's assassin. Okay, great. Pretty cool.
Who knows why? But
well, we know why.
This is all I need my hand for. Velvet wrapped steel. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Ladies, you know what I'm saying? Velvet wrapped steel. Bam, bam. So
up who's been passed out this whole time.
Who's been passed out?
My cat up because I squealed. It just went to a full octave. That was.
Oh, you just woke him up from a nap? Well, that's what happens.
Sorry, headphones users.
Apologies. Okay, so let's talk about this section. Let's talk about Selena. Let's talk about the reveal of it being Cain. I'll be honest, I was a bit disappointed in the reveal that it was Cain because I was like, too simple. I think that the book was very telegraphed and that it could probably be Cain. But more than that, I felt like the book was setting up the characters of Cale and Dorian and Nehemia as being like very interesting and cool characters. And I was thinking as I was reading the book, what is the likelihood that it is one of those 3 is the culprit? Because I think you got to kill your darlings sometime, right? You got to kill your precious darlings a little bit. And if the culprit ended up being one of those 3, I think I would have been, I almost would have seen that coming because I think I'm so used to that level of a twist in this kind of story. But I would have seen that happen and been like, man, that's pretty ballsy for a YA book to set up a sort of love triangle between 2 hunky dudes. Nehemia is this awesome female friend. And then one of those 3 allies ends up betraying and being involved in this scheme. I thought that would have been really, really maybe shocking for the interesting and shocking for the young reader that this book is for. So when we got to it being Cain, I was a little bit like, oh, okay. I guess I never had to care
Me
about
too.
Cain, right? And I never will continue to care about Cain. Unlike, like, I know I mentioning reading Harry Potter, but like even in the Harry Potter book, what was it again? The name of that big Russian guy who came in from the other school in the fourth book?
Foil?
Krakow
No.
or something.
Yeah,
Krakow.
Krakow. Like that kind of a character where I'm like, even that book, I think, did something to try to humanize these other characters involved in the contest
Oh,
to be like,
yeah.
to be like, yeah,
Oh,
right, he's
Victor Crumb.
Victor Crumb. He's the bully character, but he asked out Hermione. That's interesting.
No.
Like,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you meant the
No.
the Death Eater.
Well, and
No. Victor Crumb.
You know, the even in Sorcerer's Stone, like the reveal is definitely like I was a kid.
Right. This is almost as if the reveal would have been in book 1. Snape is evil, as opposed to like, no, it's Professor what's his name with the thing in the back of his head. He's being controlled. Yeah, he's being controlled by Voldemort. This poor like,
Why'd you say his name?
Tweedly professor. Oops,
Because he's
sorry.
Because he's a Gryffindor, unlike some of us. I'm referring to me.
I happen to be wearing green
referring to me
on my body, but not
a
on my heart.
I'm brave with my
Hector's
Blockbuster
a
t-shirt.
Hufflepuff. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I am.
I
It's
know,
true.
but he's also a Gryffindor. Like, if anyone's a Gryffindor, it's Hector.
Thank you so much. I agree. I get it. I totally get it. And I think you guys
There's like that Slytherin thing like bothering me again. Remember that GIF? That was
yeah.
days.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
time I tried to deny,
fun.
I'm not a Slytherin. And they've done so many tests and everything points to Gryffindor. But someone behind the scenes put a little Slytherin and put it like next to my head. Do you remember that? I think there's a GIF
Yeah.
of it.
That was really fun.
I super remember that. It
Yeah.
was
I'm like,
very
no.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I'm
Hector.
partially Slytherin, which is why I can make a joke like that, because I know you're gonna get
You're Slytherin Claw.
I'm probably full Huffy. I'm probably full Huffy Puffle, man. Just that's all I care about. All I like is research, and I like to do it. So that's at the end of that section. Okay, cool. Wait, no, I already read that. Whole
I'm like
section.
a Griffin Claw, a Gryffindor, and
What does the Ritterack remind you of based off of its description? What does it remind you of? I can't remember what the description was. What was it? Rachel, go.
Well, my kind of immediate thing was actually just snout wise Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have like nostrils, so movie version.
Mm-hmm.
And but also like a vampire bat that's
Yeah.
also like a scary spider / like, God, there's something in pop culture that's also like that.
Scary spider.
Almost like a Cloverfield monster, but smaller.
Cool. I like that. Yeah,
So-
that's kind of has a similar nose and big.
Yeah, like a vampire bat
Mhm.
kind of nose. And, like,
There's fan art of it if you would like to find it. Two people have kind of
cool.
like
Yeah.
done their.
I'm just nervous. I'm
depiction.
gonna spoil myself if I look up.
One is very much, no ears. It kind of looks like,
Oh, cool.
yeah. But the one that does have the ears that looks like bat-like, that's what I pictured because it's kind of like what the vampires look like in Witcher, and I've killed a lot of those.
Cool. Hey, I listened to the Witcher soundtrack. I listened to the Witcher video game soundtrack while reading this, and it was a perfect match. Well done.
Good, you found it. Good.
Yeah,
good,
really
good.
cool. Really cool. All right. The next section Rachel's going to read, but I'm going to give you the title. Here we go. It's the final duo.
Beep, beep.
Go, Rachel. That's all we have the rights to.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to anymore.
Really
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
intro. So we get to the final duel, and other stuff happens in this point. She now I understand, Maude, that you were probably referring to Nox as a character that we probably never hear from again, because she's like gives him a heads up and they're pals, and he's just like, all right, cool, see ya. That's fine. I'm not gonna win anyway, so
Disappears.
maybe he does come back. That would be cool, but I imagine that maybe not. So the last 4 champions standing, or would-be champions, they want to be the king's champion, or they've been, forced into the situation to earn their freedom, like Selena.
Mm-hmm.
It's Selena and Cain, obviously. Graves, who was super, super shitty to Selena and just made all sorts of gross comments about her being a girl, and he eats those words. And Renault, I
Renault.
don't remember how they say it in the book because he's not super interesting, but
Renault.
kind of there. Renault.
Not in the back. Okay, great.
And Cain goes up against Renault first and beats him pretty easily. And Selena handily beats Graves and sort of humiliates him in front of everyone. The King's there, Duke Parrington's there, Lady Caltaine is there, Dorian, Kaol, like they're all watching. And she gets to kind of just twist the knife a little bit, which is great. Before the final two, Cain and Selena face each other, there's this ceremonial glass of wine situation, and like an evil Wesley in a ball gown, Caltaine spikes Selena's goblet with a deadly poison, bloodbane. And as she faces against Cain, she starts to feel dizzy and ill and realizes that what's happened. She's been poisoned. Cain mocks her as she starts to sort of falter. She's dizzy. She's worried she's going to start hallucinating because that's one of the side effects of the bloodbane. And Cain just starts, he clearly knows what's going on, and he's mocking her, and he asks her, what did it feel like to wake up next to your dead parents covered in their blood?
Whoa.
And we remember that she was 8 when the King of Assassins found her. So that's some deeply traumatic stuff that might explain a lot of her coping mechanisms and why she, there have been references in this book to things that she won't think about, she won't deal with, she doesn't, it's not happening. And I feel like if you're watching The Flight Attendant on HBO Max, which is very good, a dark comedy, very different genre, but a kind of a similar vibe of someone who just is like, nope, I don't deal with anything because bad things happen to me. So as she's fighting him, this part was wild when I was reading it. Was not expecting winged demons to just like swoop into the middle of this duel. But it seems like only Selena and Cain see them, and they're and they're also taunting her. There's something sort of this evil presence person inside of Cain that she can see as well, and no one else can see it. So it looks like she's just like fighting against invisible monsters. She is losing badly, and she's like horribly injured. She gets the stuffing kicked out of her over and over and over again. And it's upsetting because she's still a person. So it's not like she's a Captain America where you're like, even this is a stretch for how much he can handle. Her leg is, she can barely get off of one leg. He dislocates her shoulder and then like relocates it by slamming her against a wall.
Ugh.
Not good. I could not handle that personally.
Can I ask a question about that, Rachel? You and Maude, you can go ahead and spoil it if you'd like. But is there any kind of a time jump between book 1 and book 2? Do they talk about her being injured? Does she sort of like heal miraculously? And not that that's a bad thing, because as I was reading it, I was like, there's got to be some rule somewhere in the world that these human beings are a little bit stronger and can heal from stuff better than us human beings. I'm so used to that kind of thing with fantasy stories or like comic books. Like you mentioned Captain America, even he has that kind of a dumb superpower where, because of the super soldier serum, like these characters can heal faster, just to get them kind of back into
like
the action.
Thrown off of a building where you're like, okay.
You don't get up from that. No, there's no time jump.
Okay.
You pick up pretty much where we left off.
With the mission. With the mission. Yeah. I mean, we can spoil it. Sure. Okay.
No, where we left off at the end. Yes, right. She's really hurt and she has to recover.
Cool.
And it takes a while. Yeah.
That's cool. That's interesting. All right. Okay. All right. Continue, Rachel. Continue.
Okay. So she is losing, and meanwhile, the three sort of important people to Selena in this book are watching her get her ass handed to her. And Dorian really wants to help, but doesn't. He stays on the sidelines. He's doing, he's being the prince. He's sticking to it.
Well, there's rules
Okay.
in play, and if he says anything, it could be
She could
disqualified.
get disqualified, and then she'd go back.
But
Of
I was
course,
thinking about
I'm
that
not-
as well, and I'm like, disqualify it so she doesn't die,
But then she'd go back to the mines.
or she'd be dead. Yeah.
Oh, totally agree. And there is a middle ground here, which is what Kale does, which I obviously, as a Kale Selena shipper, he like goes, she's basically like fallen to the edge of this, ring that they're fighting. And if she goes outside of the ring, she's disqualified. And she's laying there. She doesn't want to get up. She's ready to accept death. And he comes beside her. And it's this kind of an iconic image of, star-crossed lovers, or, force Skyping or Zooming with Ray and Kylo, where you're there, but you're not touching, or you're close to each other, but you're not reaching out. And so he reaches like a hand to the chalk outline, and she sort of like takes her a while because she's very hurt. And so they're like almost touching, and he's just saying like, get up. You have to like get up, which is very Kale. And I feel like I know them now.
Oh, Kale.
I see you Maude laughing at me. It's true. But he is trying to give her his strength and this idea of hope. And he is a character to her that represents, how people should be, how people should live with honor. And so she tries to get up, and then Cain comes and kind of attacks her again. And she is surrounded by these like winged demons. She realizes that the Bloodbane is letting her see between worlds, this kind of veil, and thinks that they're going to take her away. They're going to, destroy her and bring her to wherever hell they're from. And she lets out this primal scream for help, and Elena comes in like dun, 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 with her golden energy and golden shield, and says, I can't defeat Cain for you, but I can fight them off, and I can, remove the poison from your body, so you at least have a shot. Wish she could have healed her a little bit, but turns out she didn't really need to, because she as soon as she does get the poison out of her, and Elena, fights those demons off, and they all disappear from her vision once the poison's sucked out. From there to her kind of beating Cain is pretty quick. I re-listened to it today, where it's like, oh yeah, you had to poison her, because otherwise she would have whooped you, even with your Ritterak blood strength. And so she wins, and where is it? Yeah, she defeats Cain.
Yeah, that's it. She wins. What is the reference in the next title?
It's not
Rachel?
I couldn't.
Okay.
It's just a lazy alliteration. I'm sorry.
Recovery and Revelations.
I should have thought of a third one, but I already did the Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh mine. I felt like that would have been too reductive to do that again. And it's too soon for a callback. Like, you need more time.
It's true. Rule of threes. Okay, recovery and Revelations. So, when a defeated Cain tries to kill Selena after the duel,
yeah.
Let me go to my pronunciation. Kale steps in and stabs him in the heart, killing him. Kale is stunned. He's never killed anyone before.
Captain
Duke Parrington,
of course, he hasn't killed anyone. That makes absolute sense.
Yeah, because he's spoiled.
But he's the captain of the guard.
I compare Captain of the Guard to like what Kale says he's doing to what Lannister was doing all season 1 in King's Landing. And can I say?
But he's that's a bad boy. Kale's a good boy.
Kale is a spoiled boy. So,
but like, if someone was sentenced to death in the prisons, in the jail, wouldn't he have to?
Sorry.
Jail in the jail. I don't know about the jail in the.
You know the jail I'm talking about, not the JAIL.
Right.
GAOL.
Yeah, the jail.
Yeah. Why I
J-
said
the
I'm there.
jail.
kale with the jail.
I don't know about the jails in Darlin. I'd have to check. Maybe in Dovier
Otterland.
or Orinth.
He's 22.
I mean,
He's
22 years old. He's a babe. He's a baby. He's a little baby.
He's a babe, and also
My first kill was like 16.
I'm sorry, what? Excuse me?
What?
How do they do it in Australia? My God.
What was that?
Does it count if it's through magic?
You took out your first rue at age 16? Is that what happened?
Because if not, then I've never killed him.
Ravenclaw.
Oh my gosh.
Ravenclaw. Gryffindor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My first
Anyway.
kill.
Magic, like,
That's crazy. I got
Wow.
distracted because now I'm picturing a young Maude, 16 years old, killing somebody.
Maybe he shouldn't have been late to my prom.
That's true. That's what the situation was. That's right. 16-year-old prom? Okay.
That was the reason.
Okay.
That I killed. Yeah.
All right. Makes sense. Okay, sure. Well, you were like a junior of the sophomore or something. Okay, makes sense.
Third year. right?
Third year. Okay.
House- Australians have houses. Also,
Yeah.
different pop culture reference from Miss Necromancer, but also very valid. Very like when Frodo has that image of Galadriel reaching out to help him to his feet in Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
I agree.
That was me as
Or
well.
when
Yeah.
Harry's parents and ghosties come back, or
Yeah.
It was also me.
Rise of Skywalker a little bit. They
Mhm.
show
Also
it.
me.
Like,
You
I-
are all the Jedi, Ray.
But-
Yeah.
I wish that they had like shown them, but anyway, it's fine.
I know a couple of them. I was like, who is that?
Yeah, I know. And also, just I wish a lot of things about the movie. So, but yeah, I think just before Hector, you dive too deep into that section, I really liked this part because it felt like we're getting the end of this story, but the second like half of the book opens up kind of a lot of interesting mysteries that
Yes.
I agree with you, Hector, too, that the Kane reveal was disappointing to me. And I do think that, like I said earlier, you can see her grow as a writer and as a storyteller like almost immediately.
Yeah.
And it reminds me actually of different, because she was a grown-ass woman and not 16 when she wrote her first novel, but Anne Rice, Interview with the Vampire, could have used a lot of editing. Like
Sure.
a lot.
Sure.
And then her screenplay for the movie is like amazing.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And she didn't write The Vampire Lestat, which is the second book,
Mhm.
until I think like 10 years later. And that one is just above and beyond
There you go.
my favorite in that series. So I
Yeah.
agree with you. And I think because I was able to sort of like, I like the characters and was intrigued by like a lot of the magic, what's happening with these portals. Love a good portal story.
Yeah, portals are great.
That made me want
Thank you,
to.
Hector. That means a lot.
Portals are great.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Opening up in the
it also
Arcane
reminded me.
Academy.
No, we're what then?
Oh, I used portals in my recent season of Dungeons and
Well,
Flagons
That's right. That's
That's what
right.
Arcane Academy.
Yep.
Mhm.
Very nicely done.
That's what I thought that you meant.
Yep. Yep.
Just wanted to make sure. But it does remind me. I do think. I mean, it's hard for me to compare the two because I think Philip Pullman is like a theological scholar and all of these things that go into his dark materials, but alternate world, like I'm
Yeah.
catnip for like is catnip for me of like portals, magic, secret histories, and things like that. So yeah.
Cool.
Anyway.
So Thor the Dark World's your favorite MCU movie, right, Rachel? Because of the portals and the magic.
No.
Okay.
Neither
Also,
Doctor Strange.
what's that? Neither is Doctor Strange.
Yeah. It looks cool. Looks
It
kind of
does.
like a kaleidoscope. It's like
It's pretty cool.
okay. I feel like it could have been cooler. Could come up with something a little cooler.
Better in 3D. It's Doctor Strange is awesome in 3D.
Or let
'Cause-
Rachel
yeah.
McAdams do literally anything. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been a good call. But you know, she's coming back for the sequel. We'll see. Maybe they got some surprises in store. A pretty impossible screen name for me. I've been staring at it, trying to figure it out. The One Dime Bulb again.
The one dime.
The One Dime Bulb again.
Bulbasaur, Bulbagan.
The one dime
Jane.
Bulb
One.
again. The One Dime Bulb again said she is a murderer confirmed because Maude murdered somebody at age 16. Yep.
Yeah.
Very,
Also,
very
you
well
could
done.
provide a phonetic spelling of your username like the book did, and we just
Oh
didn't
yeah.
know until now. That would be super
Be very
helpful.
helpful. That'd be very helpful. So back to the book. Duke Parrington blames Selena's poisoning on Caltaine. Yes.
That was a really like this is
Yeah.
interesting because Caltaine was an absolute brat. She
Yeah.
was the upper echelon. She was playing. I do like that, like there's different ways to play the game. And usually, as we saw even in Bloodline, it's like women are very strategic and they play a very sort of like intellectual, social
Yep.
Yeah.
manipulation
It's
sort of game.
Because we have to be.
Yeah.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
Whereas, guys are just like, I'm going to punch her in the face now. I was like, well, please don't. Oh, here it comes. So initially you cannot stand Caltaine. She's conniving. She's not a nice person. She is trying to get her hands on what she wants by whatever means. And then when the bait and switch happened and she was accused and he put it all on her, I don't know about you guys, but I instantly was like, oh, she was bad. She wasn't that bad. Like,
Yeah. Yes. And I was like, oh man, like, yeah, at least be a bad guy with agency.
yeah. Miss Necromancer says a great thing. Caltaine telegraphed her desires and thought that Parrington was too dumb to see it.
And he absolutely was not.
No.
It's like, come on,
The king then ordered her arrest. Nehemia tells Selena that she also saw the winged beasts during the duel, and that she drew the word marks under her bed to protect her, and that she opened the portal to let Elena in, and a whole bunch of revelations from Nehemia. So Nehemia is like the magic user of this story, right? Yes.
Ahead. So this obviously is like a thing of the past. This kind of history had been buried. It's not technically magic because it runs on like a different sort of wavelength in some way. That's how they get around it. But now you start realizing that this little thread, it's in her hands and she's been pulling it the whole time.
Yep, absolutely. That whole scene was very interesting. The sort of aftermath as she's in bed and Nehemia is like spilling everything. And I know that in the Geekbomb Discord, there was somebody who said, I would have loved to have seen, I would have loved to have read a story of Nehemia killing all these demons or whatever it was her backstory, like that they would have preferred that story to the story with Selena. And I thought that was an interesting thing to latch onto. And so question to you, Maude, is there any sort of Nehemia? Because I know there's a book that takes place before this, Assassin's Blade, right? That takes place before the events of this story. Is there any Nehemia-centric stuff, or do you not want to say because that might spoil some stuff?
The prequel is actually learning about Selena's rise through the Assassin's Guild Academy school,
when she's a kid, when she's younger. Gotcha.
And she goes off to a different part of the lands, which we will explore in sometime in the future. But she trains with other people in the Assassin's League.
Cool.
But yeah, it's like it's kind of like another little school thing where they meet new students and they train there.
Cool. We learned that the Duke used the power on Lady Caltaine to influence her at the king's behest. What is this power and how is the king wielding it without magic? Yeah, I had that same question too. I think at this point in the story, I was like, oh, so the king's the big bad? Okay, got it. And I didn't really feel that in the story up to this point. I think I felt like the king was I don't know what kind of character I was likening him to, but now I'm like, okay, so he's like the Darth Vader or like the Emperor Palpatine of this story.
I was picturing him like in Lord of the Rings where Wormtongue was kind of like manipulating him and he was like, but it seems that like he's not being manipulated like
it's just
by
him.
Another person.
Selena breaks things off with Dorian now that she's the king's assassin. Could have seen it coming. You got to keep your options open for the sequels. Am I right? Come on. You don't want to lock it down at the end of the first book. She sees Elena in her dreams and thanks her for saving her life. Elena says mysteriously, blood ties can't be broken. And I was like, okay, cool. So she's like a great, 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 great grandmother or something. Yes. Interesting.
Selena.
Shoulder shrug. Yeah.
Selena.
Oh,
Also,
it's her stuck in a time loop. Got it. It's her stuck in a time loop.
Ooh, that would be fun. Princess and the Goblin. I don't know if anyone looked it up after I said it, but like the pictures from it are what I imagine in all of the scenes with Selena and Elena.
Great, great. So then this was a very interesting scene. Selena signs her contract with the king, 4 years of being his champion, and then she can be free. And my freelancer brain was like, girl, read that contract. You got to read it. You can't I know they explained the deal to you, but read the contract, girl. Be like, great, great. Let me just sit down and sit here and read it in front of you, and then I will sign it.
My lawyer, Philippa.
No kidding. No
Do you
kidding.
remember when Ariel like had the thing and she quickly like she didn't read this fine print.
She's
Look,
also a 16-year-old.
She didn't even look at the contract when she signed
seriously, we've
She's
all
a
seen
16-year-old princess who has a.
When I was 16, I was killing. No
Well,
excuse.
some
No
of us
better.
mature faster than others.
Yeah.
Ariel's been in a bubble her whole.
Yeah. Listen, we've all seen the best Shrek movie. We are all familiar with the best entry in the Shrek franchise, Shrek Forever After. And Shrek didn't read the contract from Rumpelstiltskin. And that set off a chain of, look, I'm not going to tell you about Shrek Forever After. We've all seen and love Shrek Forever After. You should watch it if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. Not in a while. But yeah, I mean.
Came out 10 years ago.
Like, make friends with a lawyer if you can.
Yep.
And you're like,
that's good advice.
Save yourself $1,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
No. I'm very lucky that my dad is a labor lawyer, so literally
Yes.
if either of you need anyone to look at a work contract, hit me up. So I'll be like, Dad.
It's also good to have a mechanic.
How you worked during my play, like Robin Williams and no, we're good. We're good friends. We're good friends.
Okay.
No, we're good.
That's great.
We're pals.
I do that to my mom. My mom still. I still give her a hard time because I'm like, Mom, remember when you didn't let me go to 6th grade camp because you was afraid I was going to get molested, and I missed out on 6th grade camp, and my mom still feels bad about that. To this day, she still feels bad about it, and I'm like, no, it's fine. I don't care. It's fine. But I just like to give her a hard time.
I had that mine as well. I wasn't allowed to be a model because apparently the photographer would like supply me with cocaine and then try to have sex with me, and then every model I've told that story to went, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that's kind of how it goes.
Dodge the bullet. Yeah, so thanks, Mom. All right.
That's a good one.
Good advice. Good
my
advice.
Dad did send someone. I feel like he sent one of his law clerks with a camera.
Wow.
To a play of mine, and does not remember Hook. It was not intentional. It wasn't like a fun bit.
Oh no.
Isn't that crazy? I
That's
mean,
so funny.
It's nice because then it was on tape and it was.
I think your dad's Peter Pan. Actually, have you looked into that? Have you checked with that?
I mean, he is Robin Williams in most of the movies where he's a dad in the 90s.
Just very hairy forearms. Is that your father? Just very hairy.
Busy. Was busy.
Okay, great. Grows 4 times, ages 4 times faster than anybody else, like Jack.
Yeah,
okay, got it.
Oh my God, I don't want to have a movie. It's so sad.
He makes it to graduation, Rachel.
I know, but
he makes it to graduation, then it immediately dies after he graduated.
I've never seen it.
No, I'm kidding. That's not what happens.
So
streaming also on Disney Plus. You can watch Jack, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, currently streaming on Disney Plus.
Jesus.
Shit you not. Watch Jack, y'all. Let me just actually double check before I make a fool of myself. Jack movie, 1996 film, directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Whoa.
Nailed it. All right.
Side note, we're gonna run out of time.
Okay.
But I'll save it for the after show. Just
Final
remind me, Jack movie.
You got it. We'll get into that sad story. So, final thoughts with the ending with Selena being like, where do I start? And then it cuts to black, like we're going to get the next mission. Then it ends. Very cinematic, very cool. Final thoughts. Rachel, you read it for the first time and now you're 4 books in. Do you even remember the first book? Is it all blending together?
I re-listened to it.
Oh, okay.
This section.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I think I was not bothered by the YA love. Even in an adult story, I love.
Sure.
It's one of the tropes that I love is like a love
Yep.
triangle or like friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, all of that kind of stuff is like, mwah, love it. But I was disappointed in the Kane reveal as well. I thought it was going to be kind of twistier. Then I did like that we get this sort of like next season on Class that there's this power and the word marks, which we know, like Selena has been researching and trying to figure out like, what's a word gate? What are all of these things? How do they work? there isn't a lot of knowledge about them.
Cool.
It seems pretty ancient. So I was very intrigued by like A, characters, and B, I really liked it seemed like it was going into a very interesting place with the lore. So clearly I liked it enough, because then I started the second book, and the second book is
second book's good. Yeah.
Second book is called
really good, and it's definitely a lot more twisty and dramatic and adult.
First one is Throne of Glass. The second one is Crown of Midnight. Third one is Heir of Fire. Fourth is Queen of Shadows.
I'm on that one.
What's your ranking so far, Rachel? Go, hit me with it.
Ooh, 2, 3, 1 so far.
2, 3, 1, 4, and you're halfway through 4.
I'm not even halfway through 4. I'm like,
just started. Okay.
I'm like an 8. I am 4 hours in of
4.
16.
I'm
okay,
like
of 16.
2, 1.
I'm a 4th in.
2, 1, 3. Here we go. 2, 1, 3, 7.
7, 7, 7, 7. That's a Friends joke. There we go.
Sure is about orgasm.
Yeah, it's about orgasm. So, Maude, your second book, favorite book in the series, Maude?
Yeah, I think so.
Ooh,
it's
interesting.
really good.
Yeah, it's exciting when she becomes the king's assassin, because she's got like more of a defined place in the world. She's no longer having like the she's not wearing like this fabricated sort of Lillian title. She's got more of a relationship with, I think she's forming more relationships with like Nehemia and Kaol and Dorian. Yeah, it's fun.
And the lore and it expands the lore in an interesting way. And I would also say like, yeah, it's that kind of story where you get invested and then they just like flip you on your butt a couple of times and throw things at you where you're like, what?
Yeah.
And, maybe you cry while you're reading it. I don't know.
Maybe you cry.
Tears, I don't know. Who knows?
I like the book when it still stays in Odelin's castle in like the glass castle. I kind of like it when it stays there. When it starts going out a little bit, it introduces like other character stories and lines. And one of the characters I think is so Manon.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, like all of that stuff. I'm just like,
so far, I'm intrigued. I feel like it could go somewhere, but every time I'm like, who are you? Why do I care about you?
And you don't care. You don't care.
And you'd think I would care based on
you do book 7.
Her character, who she is, and her like background.
I
would care.
It's a good joke, Jay Buntrock. If you have to cast a spell on your mom, it is a word to your mother, is what that is. Okay, great. We got a clap from Rachel. Excellent. Okay, so we kind of talked about the books. Rachel, you want to take over with homework and assignments?
Yeah, and
announcements.
Hector, I want to make sure that
I'll do my Rex in the after show, by the way.
Okay.
I've got a list.
I need more Rex, because at this point I might be done.
Rex,
like
that'll wreck ya.
What?
Rex, that'll wreck ya.
Yay. But Hector, any final thoughts since first time and you haven't finished or read?
I think that I was consistently impressed with the behind the scenes of the book itself, and that Sarah J. Maas wrote this when she was so young, and I was consistently reminding myself of that. Not that I needed that but I was just like, man, this is so crazy that this young person was able to to tell this story in this way. And I think that it is really, really smartly suited for that audience. So there was stuff that I don't want to say that I necessarily disliked it, but it was just stuff in the book that sort of kept me from connecting to it, because I think I could see a little bit of the matrix code of sort of what the story was kind of doing and kind of who it was, really trying to grab onto and appeal to. But I am glad that Rachel is 4 books in and has reported back that like the writing is going to get more sophisticated. And I think that that's fantastic. And I'm also really looking forward to, even if I didn't love the book, I'm looking forward to if and when this adaptation, this show happens, how are they going to do it? Because it could be as simple as, look, if they get the right group of actors to play some of these characters, then I think maybe people like me could become even more invested, could be like, oh, okay, now I understand sort of really what the tone and what the feel of this world is going for, and what the fun of it is, and how that can kind of can play out when in people's brains that really love the book as they were reading it. I kind of want to just maybe be spoon fed a little bit more of like, okay, what were you seeing? What were you feeling? What were you thinking? So looking forward to it, and I'm happy for all of the popularity and success. Will I read book 2? Probably not. Nope.
That's fair. And
We did
that's
it for you. That's fine.
It
Yeah.
is for you, and yet you still read it, and it could not be for you, and you can still appreciate its place in the world.
I
Keep
bought
walking
the
it
next 2
around.
books in Temeraire. I don't think I'm ever going to read them.
What? Oh no.
Yeah.
Who? What?
In the
I don't want to be
Temeraire
more
series.
bored than I could be not reading them, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I said I was going to. Will I? I don't know.
Well, if you want them, I'll give them to you.
Okay.
Sweet.
Cool.
I'll take 3 books. Ooh, and that's my cue to go because one of my cameras ran out of batteries. So your homework for next year is to, now I look like I'm kind of a Sith, like I've got like bad side, good side, like
Ooh,
the light and the dark, or the Ravenclaw and the Slytherin. So our next book is going to be in January. Your homework is to read chapters 1 through 10 of Dark Disciple.
I can remember that.
Yes, that's an easy one. Stop at 11. You have to read that by January 6th. That is when our next live episode is going to be.
Cool.
And in the meantime, send us your book recommendations. We're going to be announcing another poll to select our February read when we return from the break. Also, Goodreads just announced their like best books of 2020. If you had books that you loved and read this year, maybe not for the poll, maybe you don't want to read them again, but you loved them, send those recommendations to us because we're always looking for more stuff to read, either on the show or just personally.
I'm trying, Brad. I'm trying with Name of the Wind. I have been trying with Name of the Wind from day 1. It's a long, hefty book, though. It's a hefty book.
Okay, a hefty book.
It's a chunky boy.
A chunky boy. A thick boy. Spicy boy. Anyway, and just a reminder for the next 2 weeks, just stay tuned to the Nerdist Twitter for dates and times, and the Nerdist YouTube channel, because we are going to be rolling out episodes of Alpha Book Club, the previous version of this show that we started in 2016. We're going to be doing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and
Say it properly.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Thank you, darling.
And The Princess Bride. So check those out if you haven't seen them before. Let us know what you think. And if you have seen them before, but you want to see us in a studio, remember what it was like in the before times, then watch it. You can also check out previous episodes of this version of the show, the new version, on Nerdist YouTube and Geek and Sundry's Twitch channels. Maude, where are we going?
We are heading over to Geekbomb's Discord. If you are a backer of any tier of Patreon for Geekbomb's Patreon, you get access to the book club chat where we all talk about this in a Q&A afterwards. Dork Lordess, I don't know if you're in there, but I really, really want to talk to you more about why you like Manon. And I want to tell you that I am reading Court of Thorns and Roses again for my second listen through. So we'll chat about book recs, what we thought about this book. A lot of people got their scores in, but I'm going to get everyone to weigh in it with a 1 sentence of what you thought of this book. That'll be really exciting. We'll see you over there.
Sweet. And to everyone on in this club, if we don't talk to you in the after show, we just hope you have a very safe and happy holiday and New Year. However you celebrate this year, we're very grateful for you. And we'll see you next year.